بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأزكى التسليم. Dear brothers and sisters everywhere, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah we're going to resume our reflections on Surat Ta-Ha, and we've reached Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying قال فما بال القرون الأولى. Fir'aun said, what about the generations of old? Fir'aun here, he began to argue with Musa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He began to argue when Prophet Musa sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him that his Lord who sent him is the one who creates and sustains and decrees and guides. So he was citing citing previous generations as evidence. He was referring to ancient people who didn't worship Allah. قال فما بال القرون الأولى. He was referring to the ancient people who didn't worship Allah. In other words, if the matter is as you say, O Musa, then what happened to those people who didn't worship your Lord? Instead, they worshipped other gods alongside him. In response, Prophet Musa sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him that if they didn't worship Allah, Allah knows exactly what happened to them and will give them just recompense for their actions as written in Allah's book of decrees. This is the book of deeds known as Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet. Pharaoh had no reaction to the evidence for primary creation because it was convincing. He couldn't refute this evidence. So he tried to divert the conversation away from the serious evidence and towards a minor issue. قال فما بال القرون الأولى. What about the old generations? He inquired. That's what about the preceding nations? But what do the first generations have to do with this discussion? Prophet Musa quickly sensed Fir'aun's evasion and attempt to avoid the main issue, so he shut the door on him. قال علمها عند ربي في كتاب لا يضل ربي ولا يشقى. Prophet Musa said, the knowledge thereof is with my Lord in a record. My Lord neither errs nor forgets. This is not my area of experience, because the one who can be asked about the first generations is the one who questions them, and he should be aware of their conditions and where they stood in terms of faith or disbelief. To reward or punish them for it, then this is a meaningless question. It's nonsense, polemic and an evasion from the real discussion we are having here. And the meaning of fi kitab in a record is recorded in a book that the angels see in order to carry out the mission that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. And the book is not intended for Allah to look at and know what is in it, because praise be to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا يضل ربي ولا ينسى. My Lord neither errs nor forgets. Nothing escapes him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and nothing, no matter how small or large, escapes him subhanahu wa ta'ala. He never forgets anything, and his knowledge is to encompass everything. Blessed be he, the exalted, the most holy, and without flaws. The creature's knowledge has two flaws. The first is that anything that we know has two flaws. The first is that it doesn't cover everything, and the second is that the creature is prone to forgetting after learning. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared himself to be above such flaws. Then Prophet Musa sallallahu alayhi wasallam returned to the first issue, the issue of creation, but in greater detail. الذي جعل لكم الأرض مهدا. He is the one who made the earth as a bed for you. Mahdan, a bed. Mahdan is derived from the meaning of preparing and setting something down so that it is suitable for its task, as you do with your bed when before sleeping. And the child's bed is called mahd, a cradle, because you pave it for him and prepare it and remove anything that disturbs him so that he settles in his cradle and rests. You must carry out this task for him because he lives by your instincts, unless his instincts alert him to such things, and he carries them out himself when he matures. Therefore, you must look after him, raise him, and care for him during this time. So, جعل لكم الأرض مهدا. He made the earth a bed for you, means that he paved and cradled it to make it suitable for your life and livelihood on it. And the meaning of مهدها is not to level it. مهدها doesn't necessarily mean to level something, but to prepare it for its mission. To prepare it for its mission, especially because there are mountains, hills, and valleys in the earth, and life wouldn't be as easy and comfortable for us to live on it without these. So preparing it entails making it suitable to live on, whether it is flat, zigzag, high, or low. Roads in flat land, for example, are flat and straight, whereas roads in mountainous areas are tortuous and zigzag. And this twisting has the advantage of requiring you to alternate between facing the sun and the shadow rather than facing the sun for long periods of time, which may put one's life at risk. Let me give you an example. We make fishing hooks out of iron, and they will not perform the function if they are straight, right? So their straightness is in being crooked. If it were straight, it wouldn't attract the fish that is meant to attract. Therefore, we say at-taswiyah. Taswiyah stands for making something fit for its purpose, whether straight or crooked. الذي جعل لكم الأرض مهدا وسلك لكم فيها سبلا, and has opened ways for you therein. That's paved roads that easily lead you to your missions. When you walk through the desert roads, you will notice that they vary according to the capacity of walking in them. Some are as narrow as the foot for one person, while others are wide enough for laden camels or cars to use. So he designed different and varied roads for you based on the task that you need to complete. سبحانه وتعالى. وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به أزواجا من نبات شتى, and has sent down water from the sky, and we have brought forth with it various kinds of vegetation. This is also related to the issue of creation, which no one claims because it is a rejected claim. It's gonna be a groundless and baseless claim if anyone say something like that. You who claim divinity, give us some of that. Show us a new type of plant that you have created. No one will be capable of doing so, and thus they must stop claiming divinity in any way. Similarly, bringing water down from the sky is not for anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, when the plant emerges, we may have some work and effort such as plowing, sowing, watering, and so on. But this work is derived from the means that Allah created for us. Therefore, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke of water, He said, He sent down, أنزل, He sent down. أنزل وأنزل من السماء ماء, He sent down. As no one has anything to do with it except Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when He spoke of bringing out plants, He said, we have brought forth فأخرجنا, we have brought forth فأخرجنا, as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as if Allah the Blessed and Exalted respects and values our causal work. Whatever you do, whatever effort you put, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never ignore that. And when he said أزواجا من نبات شتى, various kinds of vegetation, he didn't just say plants or vegetation, but he said pairs, because Allah Almighty wants things, he wants things to multiply, and reproduction requires two pairs, male and female, because Allah created the earth and ordained its sustenance in it, and these sustenances must suffice everyone, must be sufficient for everyone who lives on this earth. The rest of the creatures reproduce in the same way that man does. If the farming land becomes insufficient and doesn't produce enough for us and people go hungry, it's an indication that we humans have failed to reclaim and cultivate the land. Therefore, when we ran out of food, we went to the desert to reclaim it, and now it's bearing fruit and we see its goodness, and we realize that we were careless during the previous period, so we multiplied as humans but didn't increase the agricultural area around us. The male and female are found not only in plants but in everything Allah created. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. Glory be to him who created all pairs of what the earth grows, and from themselves and from what they do not know. Pairing exists in everything, whether you realize it or not. In the atom, there are negative and positive electrons and ions. And he's saying min nabatin shatta, from various kinds of vegetation, refers to many different and dispersed things, not only between species but also within species. If you go to the date market in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara in Saudi Arabia, for example, you will find a variety of different shapes, flavors and sizes, all grouped together under one name, dates. So when it comes to other types of crops as well. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُلُوا وَرْعَوْا أَنْعَامَكُمْ كُلُوا وَرْعَوْا أَنْعَامَكُمْ, eat and pasture your cattle therein. This is why the plant was brought out, something edible for you and palatable for you, as well as something for your cattle as fodder, both green and dry. Kulu, eat, indicates that the Almighty, the Creator, created life and the elements of life, the first of which is sustenance in the form of food and drink, and ownership in these components corresponds to their importance. So sustenance comes first, followed by water and then air. You need food and can go for a month without it based on the amount of fat stored in your body, which the body feeds on in the event of food loss. Because when you eat, you consume a portion of the food in your movement, and the remainder is stored as fat, the body's food store. If the fat runs out, the body gets its nutrition from the meat, which is the body's final food store. Therefore, and from the bonds, by the way, from the bonds which the bonds are considered as the body's final food store. Therefore, when Prophet Zakaria sallallahu alaihi wasallam expressed his weakness, he said, "Rabbi inni wahana al-'azmu minni." My Lord, I'm weak in my bones. Therefore, some people frequently own food while others do not, because when you are pressed and hungry, you can go without food for an extended period of time and obtain it through various means or request assistance from others. However, no one can survive for more than 3 to 10 days without water. So owning water is extremely rare, and no one can live without air for more than one breath. And it is Allah's mercy to His servants that He doesn't allow anyone to own or possess it. Otherwise, if the owner of the air was angry with you and prevented you from getting it, you would die immediately with no time to try to get it through other means, such as food and water. And Allah's command to وَرْعَوْا أَنْعَامَكُمْ, pasture your cattle, because they too require nourishment. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ, verily in this are ayat, proofs, signs and evidences, for whom? لِأُولِي النُّهَى, for men of understanding. Those with correct and upright intelligence recognize that there is no God worthy of worship other than Allah, and there is no true Lord other than Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. Therefore we created you, and into it we shall return you, and from it we shall bring you out once again. It is worth noting here that Prophet Musa sallallahu alayhi wasallam presents to Fir'aun issues that do not concern Fir'aun alone, but rather prevent the rise of any other Fir'aun. The earth is your starting point, for your father Adam was made of dirt from the earth's surface. You will also be returned to the earth. This means that when you die and decay, you will turn into dirt or dust. وَلَقَدْ أَرَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا كُلَّهَا فَكَذَّبَ وَأَبَى. And indeed we showed Fir'aun all our ayat, but he denied and refused. The proofs, the signs, the evidences against Fir'aun were established, and he saw them with his own eyes, but he still denied and rejected them due to his disbelief, abstinence, and transgression. And because Allah's signs are numerous and diversified, what does it mean here that Pharaoh saw all of Allah's signs? No, what is meant here? What's meant here is are the additional signs, which are the 9 signs given to Prophet Musa sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Harun by Allah to argue with Fir'aun, as well as evidence of their credibility, sincerity, and truthfulness. They are the staff, al-asa, the hand, the yad, the flood, the locusts, the lice, the frogs, the blood, the drought, and the lack of fruits. These are the signs that Allah showed to Pharaoh and his people. However, the response of Fir'aun, the reaction of Fir'aun was فَكَذَّبَ وَأَبَى. He belied and rejected, that he refused to believe in what Prophet Musa sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought him. Dear brothers and sisters, here we come to the end of this episode, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us all from among those who listen to the statements and follow the best of them. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.